Chapter 33, Risa. For Risa, the first days in the graveyard are harsh and seem to last forever. Her residency begins with an exercise in humility. Every new arrival is required to face a tribunal. 3 17-year-olds sitting behind a desk in the gutted shell of a wide-bodied jet. 2 boys and a girl. These 3, together with Amp and Jeeves, who Risa met when she first stepped off the plane, make up the elite group of 5 everyone calls the Goldens. They're the Admiral's 5 most trusted kids, and therefore the ones in charge. By the time they get to Risa, they've already processed 40 kids. "Tell us about yourself," says the boy on the right. Starboard boy, she calls him, since after all they're in a vessel. "What do you know, and what can you do?" The last tribunal Risa faced was back at Stayho when she was sentenced to be unwound. She can tell these 3 are bored and don't care what she says, just as long as they can get on to the next one. She finds herself hating them, just as she hated the headmaster the day he tried to explain why her membership in the human race had been revoked. The girl, who sits in the middle, must read her feelings because she smiles and says, "Don't worry, this isn't a test. We just want to help you find where you'll fit in here." It's an odd thing to say, since not fitting in is every unwind's problem. Risa takes a deep breath. "I was a music student at Stayho," she says, then immediately regrets telling them she's from a state home. Even among unwinds, there's prejudice and pecking orders. Sure enough, Starboard leans back, crossing his arms in clear disapproval, but the portside boy says, "I'm a Ward 2, Florida Stayho 18, Ohio 23. "What instrument do you play?" the girl asks. "Classical piano." "Sorry," says Starboard, "we've got enough musicians and none of the planes came with a piano." "Survival has earned me the right to be respected," Risa says. "Isn't that one of the Admiral's rules? I don't think he'd like your attitude." Starboard squirms. "Can we just get on with this?" The girl offers an apologetic grin. "As much as I hate to admit it, in the here and now there are other things we need before a virtuoso. What else can you do?" "Just give me a job and I'll do it," Risa says, trying to get this over with. "That's what you're going to do anyway, right?" "Well, they always need help in the galley," says Starboard, "especially after meals." The girl gives Risa a long pleading look, perhaps hoping that Risa will come up with something better for herself, but all Risa says is, "Fine, dishwasher. Am I done here?" She turns to leave, doing her best to douse her disgust. The next kid comes in as she's heading out. He looks awful. His nose is swollen and purple, his shirt is caked with dried blood, and both his nostrils have started bleeding fresh. "What happened to you?" He looks at her, sees who it is, and says, "Your boyfriend. That's what happened to me, and he's gonna pay." Risa could ask him a dozen questions about that, but the kid's bleeding all over his shirt, and the first priority is to stop it. He tips his head back. "No," Risa tells him. "Lean forward, otherwise you'll gag on your own blood." The kid listens. The tribunal of 3 come out from behind their desk to see what they can do, but Risa has it under control. "Pinch it like this," she tells him. "You need to be patient with this kind of thing." She shows the kid exactly how to pinch his nose to stem the flow of blood. Then, once the bleeding stops, Portside comes over to her and says, "Nice work." She's immediately promoted from dishwasher to medic. Funny, but it's indirectly Connor's doing since he's the one who broke the kid's nose in the first place. As for the kid with the bloody nose, he gets assigned to dishwashing. The first few days, actually trying to act like a medic without any real training is terrifying. There are other kids in the medical jet who seem to know a lot more, but she quickly comes to realize they were thrown into this just like she was when they first arrived. "You'll do fine, you're a natural," the senior medic, who is all of 17, tells her. He's right. Once she gets used to the idea, handling first aid, standard illnesses, and even suturing simple wounds becomes as familiar to her as playing the piano. The days begin to pass quickly, and before she realizes it, she's been there a month. Each day that goes by adds to her sense of security. The Admiral was an odd bird, but he'd done something no one else had been able to do for her since she'd left Stayho. He'd given her back her right to exist.